One of the foundational skills that I work with as a somatic coach is a person's ability to interocept. That is to sense into your inner landscape and read the signals coming from your body. So that means signals for thirst, it means signals for hunger, signals that communicate you're scared or particularly anxious, or signals that you are feeling at ease and well. Now, we live in a society that historically, since the time of Descartes and the Cartesian split, valued the mind's knowing over the body's, values a more direct, linear way of knowing, the kind of knowing that says, I can point to this thing and identify what this thing is. I can put it in a box and label it as something. We have valued that kind of knowing over the more intuitive, emergent knowing that comes through the body. Now, I've had clients who are like, this is woo-woo. I don't believe in this. This is not scientific. And I'm here to tell you that it's not true. There is 95% of the information that is coming into your body and that is being processed, digested, integrated, that is causing our systems to operate the way that they are meant to. 95% of that information is happening below our conscious awareness. Only 5% of what is happening we can be consciously aware of in any given moment. Now, we don't like to think, we're not particularly fond of the idea that there is way more happening outside of our control than within it. But it is how our biology is structured and functions. It would not be efficient to have to think about my hand reaching for a spoon, dipping into my soup, and feeding myself every time I sat down to have a meal. It would not be efficient for me to have to think about breathing in and breathing out every time that I have to take a breath. It's by necessity, it's by design that so much of what is happening within us to keep us functioning and surviving in the world is happening below our conscious level of awareness. There's too much complexity that we contain for that all to be happening on a conscious level. So what we do when we move into a space to train our ability to interocept, sense what's happening on the inside, is to become more sensitive and more detailed in our capacity to be with the raw data, to be with that information. And it's coming in through the way of sensation. It's coming in through movement, through pressure, through our sense of gravity, feeling heavy or light. It's coming in through tingling or a surge, a rush of energy. And sometimes it's coming in visually. Sometimes it's coming in through imagery, like a sense of a cloudy fog surrounding our mind, or a kind of dark void around our belly. Now, this different way of knowing, this different kind of intelligence is hard to pin down by nature. What we're moving into relationship with is our ability to be in touch with the felt sense. Now, the felt sense is a term coined by Eugene Gendlin, who started to describe, as he was working with people in a psychotherapeutic context, he started to describe this more global state that people would speak to or speak from when he would engage them in a line of questioning or explore meaning or get them to articulate or transmit a specific experience. And what he was discovering and observing was that people would speak words and then they would say, hold on, that's not quite right. And they would return to some place and then try to speak again using different language. That place that we're returning to is a felt experience of a memory or a person or a thing. When we walk into a room and we experience someone, we start to small talk with somebody. Our experience of that person, the sense of, oh, there's something off here, or wow, this just feels good. I feel like I can be myself. I really feel like opening up and like I'm in this moment with that person. That is the felt sense. It's the gut instinct. It's the first impression that we get of a person or an environment. Now, if we can start to hone our awareness and our attention on that felt experience that we're having, we are inviting ourselves to be in relationship with so much richness, a rich field of information, of data. And that is not to then jump to conclusions or rush in our interpretation of what that data means. It is not to perpetuate old patterns or old beliefs and say, oh, I know exactly what that thing is. It's to create more space in our experience so that we can be with that information longer before drawing conclusions. Because the ways that our mind works is that it groups information and codes that information. It judges that information and then records that judgment in the mind so that we don't have to look at an apple and go through the process of thinking round, three-dimensional, reddish green stem. Oh, that's an apple. We just look at the apple and our brain recognizes, because of the information that it's grouped and then assigned a label to, that I am in fact looking at an apple. Now, when we're working with limiting beliefs, when we're working with our stress response, when we're working with our triggers, when we're working with patterns, habitual patterns, behavior that we're trying to interrupt, this is the mechanism by which we create change on the level of our mind. We're working with the neuroplastic nature of our brain to reprogram the stories and the meaning making that we've assigned to the world, to the people in it, based on our past experiences. So in order to do this, we need a fair degree of safety within our felt experience. We need to feel safe enough to interrogate and question the meaning that we're assigning to the trigger or to the person, right? So one thing that you can do in order to prime your organism to create more capacity around your ability to interocept is to ground the body and exhale, right? To find some stillness, get quiet in your mind, and pay attention as you're sitting to the surfaces that are supporting your body, whether that's the floor supporting your feet or your chair supporting your seat. So the more that we can pay attention to and reinforce to our bodies that we indeed are safe, the more available interoception is to us, the more available the choice to move into our inner world and start to pick out the details of this felt experience, the more we can accurately sense what is happening in our environment, the more we're going to be able to shift out of experiences where our nervous systems get hijacked, where we are consumed by our fear. The more spaciousness we'll invite into our being and be able to experience greater ease and more peace, because we are working with the psychology. We are working with the way that the psyche is constructed to slow down and be with reality as it is, as opposed to how it seems to be.